All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about digital currency, something that's totally changing the game when it comes to money. We'll get into how it works, what makes it so secure, and really what it could mean for, well, everything we buy and sell.
So let me ask you something that might sound a little weird. Think about the cash you have. The bills in your wallet, the change in your pocket. Now, what if money wasn't something you could actually hold? What if it was just data? Okay, so before we jump into the new stuff, we got to understand the system we're using right now. Most of the world's money is what's called fiat currency. And its value, well, it isn't tied to something physical like gold. It's really just based on all of us trusting the governments and banks that make it. And on the flip side, you've got digital currency. This is money that's purely electronic. I mean, there are no printing presses making it, no coins being minted. It's just code, secure information. And that right there is a huge shift in the very idea of what money is.
So here you can see the big differences. Side by side, you've got your regular fiat money. It's physical and it's centralized, meaning governments are in control. But then you have digital currency, which is often decentralized. And that's a key word. It means there's no single boss, no central bank. Instead, the power and all the transaction records are spread out across a whole network of users.
But wait a minute. If there's no bank, no one in charge, how on earth can anyone trust this system, right? What's to stop it from just becoming a total mess? Well, the answer is some pretty brilliant technology that holds the whole thing together.
And that technology is called the blockchain. It's this incredible idea that makes it possible for us to have secure, direct transactions with each other, peer-to-peer, without a bank or any middleman getting involved. So what exactly is a blockchain? The easiest way to think about it is like a giant public notebook, a digital ledger that everyone in the network shares and can see. Every single transaction gets written down as a new line. But here's the thing. No one company owns this notebook. It's copied and shared across thousands of computers, which are run by people we call miners, who keep the whole system going. Now, to get why this ledger is so secure, you need to know about something called a hash. A hash is basically a unique digital fingerprint. Every single group or block of transactions gets its very own hash, which kind of seals it off and makes it unique. And here's how that chain actually gets built, step by step. First, a bunch of new transactions happen, and they're all bundled together into a block. Then that block gets its unique hash, that digital fingerprint we just talked about. And finally, and this is the really clever part, the new block is attached to the chain by including the hash of the block that came before it. That's what literally creates the chain. Okay, so we've got this chain of transactions, but how do we know it's safe? I mean, building the chain is cool, but making it impossible to mess with, that's where the magic really happens.
And this is probably what you're thinking right now, right? If this whole ledger is public and everyone can see it, what's stopping some hacker from just going back, changing a number, and saying, hey, that money is mine now? Well, the answer is actually super simple, and it's kind of brilliant. The moment you try to change one block, the whole chain just breaks. Here's how that works. Remember how each block's fingerprint is tied to the one before it? Well, if a hacker changes anything in an old transaction, even just a tiny little detail, the hash for that block completely changes. And because it changed, it no longer matches the next block in the chain. The link is broken. The entire network can see that something's wrong instantly. Okay, fair point. But what if the hacker is really, really good? Couldn't they use some crazy powerful computer to just change a block and then quickly recalculate all the hashes for all the blocks that come after it and just create a whole new fake chain? You'd think so. But the system has this amazing defense mechanism called proof of work. Basically, to add a new block to the chain, all the computers on the network have to race to solve a really difficult math problem. It's designed to be hard. It takes a ton of computing power, and on average, it takes about 10 minutes to solve. And that 10-minute delay, that's the key. It intentionally slows everything down. See, the real honest network is always moving forward.
adding a new block about every 10 minutes. For a hacker to pull off a fake chain, they wouldn't just have to redo the math for the one block they changed, they'd have to redo it for every block after that, and do it faster than the entire rest of the world combined. It's pretty much an impossible race to win.
So, let's zoom out for a second. We talked about how this blockchain thing creates a super secure way to track money without needing banks. But why is this such a big deal? What does this mean beyond just buying and selling stuff?
It really all comes down to this one powerful idea. We now have a way to create a record of information that everyone can see, but that nobody can secretly change. It's a system that's built on total transparency and a kind of truth you can actually verify.
And that just leaves us with this one last big question to think about. We started this whole conversation talking about money, but this technology, it's really about trust. So if you can create a secure, unchangeable record for money, what else could you use it for? Think about it. Voting, medical records, who owns what property? The possibilities are kind of mind-blowing, and we're only just starting to figure them out.